Concept of curriculum development. Stephen Moore, EDLD 5483, University of Arkansas Monticello, Fall 2016. I chose a cycle diagram for my curriculum development visual, and that's because I believe that our curriculum starts with the standards, and that's what the students should be able to do when they're done. The standards influence the curriculum, which is the most effective way to achieve the desired results we want. The curriculum influences the instruction, which is the method of delivery of the curriculum, which influences the assessment, which is giving the feedback that are we meeting our goals or not. And over time, as standards change, so will the curriculum, so will the instruction, and so will the assessment. The first thing we should do is define curriculum development. Most experts would agree that the definition of curriculum development is defined as the planned, purposeful, progressive, and systematic process in order to create positive improvements in the educational system. Our first stage is the standards. The standards are concise, written descriptions of what students are expected to know and be able to do at a specific stage in their education. Most of the time, the standards are legislatively mandated. They identify what learning is needed and decide on the types of training that you need to provide to meet those learning needs. The standards normally answers the question, what should the learner be able to do? And it is, in my opinion, that the standards are the driving force of the curriculum. As standards change, so will the curriculum. The next stage of the curriculum cycle is the curriculum itself. Curriculum refers to the means and materials in which students will interact for the purpose of achieving identified educational outcomes, which are the standards. The objectives are the plans that means and the methods, materials, and assessments need to satisfy the standards. The most effective way to achieve these results is what we call a curriculum. After the curriculum stage is the instruction stage. Instruction is the transfer of the learning from one person to another, in this case from the teacher to the student. Instruction is also the purposeful guidance of the learning process. Instruction can take place in many forms, but needs to include higher order thinking, a depth of the knowledge, a real-world connection beyond the classroom, and support for the student's achievement. The instruction is normally sums up to the method of delivery of the curriculum. The final stage of the curriculum development is the assessment. Many people out there will say that assessment is the driving force of the curriculum development. However, unless you're teaching to the test, I don't see how that's possible. The assessment is a process of documenting knowledge, skills, attitudes, and beliefs. It is also the tools and the methods of obtaining the information from tests and other sources about the achievement of the individuals. Assessments use a wide variety of methods of tools to evaluate, measure, document all the academic processes, skills acquisition, and the educational needs of the students. Assessments determine whether or not the goals of education are being met. And the last thing assessment does, it gives us the feedback to the question, are we meeting our goals? If that is not the case, then we need to go back to the instruction part so we can satisfy the standards. To answer the question, is there a driving force of the four? Yes, there is. The driving force behind the curriculum development is the standards, even though many might argue that the assessment is the driving force. Over time, standards change, and as they do, the curriculum must change as well. As the curriculum adapts to the standards, we will need to change the way we instruct. So therefore, we'll have to invoke changes in the instruction. And the way we instruct will influence the way we have to assess. The curriculum development is a cycle. The standards might be the driving force behind the cycle. However, the cycle cannot exist without the other parts. Equally important are the parts of the whole. The standards are our goals. The curriculum is the most effective way to attain those goals. Our instruction is the delivery of the curriculum. And the assessment is the giving back of information to see if we are meeting those goals. If we are not, we go back to the standards, and that will adjust, and the cycle continues. So, how do we design a curriculum? First, we should start with the big idea. What do we want our students to know? Next, we go to the standards. What are your desired outcomes? Then we create objectives or plans, the means and the materials, the assessments to satisfy those standards. This is called the curriculum. Once we have our curriculum in place, we can prepare our learning experiences and the transfer of learning. That's the instruction. Once we have those three stages of curriculum design in place, now we could plan for our assessment, which determines whether or not we're meeting those goals. If we fail to meet those goals, we go back to the standards. Are there any factors missing? I think there's plenty of things that need to be considered in the curriculum development, but not necessarily stages of curriculum development. For instance, some of these factors might be political aspects, whereas a lot of our standards are governmentally mandated, or the social aspects. As societal norms change, so will our standards and so will our curriculum. Economical factors. Where are we going to get funding for new programs that might be needed or introduced through standards and involved in the curriculum process? And the technological aspects. Keeping up with the latest advancements. As changes in technology occur, the changes in the way we teach is going to need to be adapted as well.